Now we got to get to story, but I want to share quickly. I interviewed a fitness coach. He's an expert himself. Tragically, his brother was kidnapped and murdered. But I want you to listen to this clip from our interview because he talks us through this ecosystem perfectly. Now, he didn't know this ecosystem existed, but it's worth listening to.
Feel that even though people may not have the same type of, national news story with a family member murdered, we all have this stuff that happens to us, and to what you shared, a lot of what you shared, these things that happen to us, they change the way we think, and then and change the way we feel. And when the way we think and feel gets changed, it changes our behaviors. And then the habits that you talked about. And then these habits then in turn shape us even more. We stay up late, we get on social media, we watch serial killer documentaries and wonder why we think the world's such a terrible place.
Right.
And it's like you feel bad, a lot of your thoughts are negative, and a lot of the way you feel is negative.
Right.
And we have the power to change that. So and one of the things why I got into fitness is because it's one of it not only can our thoughts and feelings affect our behaviors and our habits, but our habits can affect our thoughts and feelings. And one of the things that helped me get back from that dark place after my brother was murdered was I got into the habit of fitness.
So that's critical to understand. Without knowing this ecosystem, he articulated it beautifully. And here he is, a guy went through tragedy. His environment was affected. It affected his mindset. And then what he did was he got into the habit of fitness, which changed his environment, changed the results, right? The environment is both the inputs and the outputs, and his story. So the truth is we can enact change anywhere, but it's actuated at the habit level. All right. So this is an example of a behavior model. I'm going to move real quickly. Semi-complicated CBT, TTM, just to give you a comparative analysis, compare and contrast. The idea behind the 3 circles ecosystem is everything. This is Einstein's mandate. Everything must be as simple as possible, but not simpler. We break it down to the core influencers. This is to illustrate, this is a quick video, if some of you have seen it, but the idea is to explain, just write down what's happening in this video really quickly. It's about 60 seconds. Pay close attention. All right. So who wants to go first? We got to do this super quick. Somebody tell me what happened in that video. You see anything, Guy?
No, waiting for. Drop it in the chat, everyone. Speak out, unmute and speak. Great to hear you.
Maria, what
Billy
you see?
Chan says 1 minute of my life is gone.
Ah. But what did you see?
Kind of like an aggression at the end that kind of ruined the whole kind of framework of, the whole structure. But he was trying to kind of like keep keep the order, meaning like not allow anybody within the frame. But I think it seems like he got mad, and then he come back and broke everything.
Beautiful. Thank you for participating. Yes. So what we just witnessed, and that was beautiful. What's your name, sir? Perfect. So what Ham just said is he was mad. The truth is, this comes from two psychologists in the 40s. They did an experiment. They showed this video, and out of 34 people, 33 of them created stories. Only one of them said it's two triangles and a circle moving in and out of a rectangle. Everybody else said it's a father beating up a son or a mother who's scared. We create stories. This is how we think. So we think in terms of story. Legend has it, Hemingway was asked to pen a 6-word story. This is it. How does that settle, Guy? What did you read there?
For sale. Baby shoes, never worn.
Right. So what does that mean?
Why did the baby not wear the shoes?
For me, I see maybe they don't have the baby passed away.
Yeah, that's almost what everybody thinks. Excellent. Yeah, I mean, some people tear up. They start crying when they read this. 6 words. 6 words, and we project a story of tragedy that it happens to me every time. A baby had shoes and was never born. But the truth is, we don't know that to be the case. It could be a million things. So we project.
Dr. Lowe says no need to buy baby shoes.
We think in terms of story. Don't take it from me. Mark Turner, cognitive scientist. Narrative imaging story is the fundamental instrument of thought. This is how we predict, plan, and explain. I wish I could spend more time on this. This is absolutely essential as a coach. There are stories, and then there are meanings and associations we give them, and then there are more stories and more meanings and associations. So this is the definition of story in English. What's fascinating is it is both, and again, I can't spend too much time here. It is both fact and fiction, an account of incidents, events, right? And it's also a falsehood. That is completely nonsensical. A story is, that would be like me saying, if you were an alien, I'd say, here's my refrigerator. It's also an oven, right? There are very few words, Peter, in English that are their own antonym, their own opposite. It's ludicrous that a story is fiction and fact. Crazy. And stories make up our past, our present, the meaning. The contention in my book is the 6 most important stories when you're coaching are who, what, where, why, when, and how. And the book we'll get to later, hopefully, details this. But fact and fiction, past, present, future, story is everything. Story is woven into our language. What's the story? I can read between the lines, long story short. What's her story? What's his story? That's the end of the story. What storylines will emerge? It just goes on and on. We cannot extract story from language, from our lives. Can you read the room? And then we can get into religion, as this isn't to discount religion. Not at all. What this does is just explain to us that none of us witnessed those stories. Those are stories, right? Everything is a story. Even when we get into coaching, we talk about what's your why. Well, why is important, but really that's a story. And your mission, well, that's a story. Story is everything. and we predominantly think in story. Here's another example, guy. Where are you going to park here? With your Rolls Royce. Where are you putting your Rolls Royce, guy?
The furthest corner.
Yeah, that's me too. I'm down here. Exactly. Because we create a story really quickly that last time I parked near some idiot, they dented my car, right? So we don't have time for this. I'm going to skip this. Lori Gottlieb is a therapist. In essence, whoops. In essence, she says this: we assume circumstances shape our lives. But after 20 years as a therapist, what I have realized is that the way we narrate our lives shapes what they become. It's a big difference. It's not necessarily what happens to us, it's how we steer our stories. Stories, she also says stories are how we make sense of our lives, and they can keep us stuck because habit is operating at the level of our mindset, right? So we're replaying stories over and over and over and over. So quickly, back to the 3 circles. The point is, when we're coaching somebody, they must go from point A to point B, which I can't see, but I'm presuming you can. And the way to do that is to transcend all 3 major components: story, environment, and habit. Say it with me: story, environment, and habit. All right. We must have them all aligned. Otherwise, somebody's working on their habits and they got a good story, but their environment's not conducive. It's not going to happen. Their goal is not going to be achieved. They need all 3 of these. So here's another example. This is just to demonstrate we need congruency, alignment. Quickly, this guy, to underscore the point, this is in the how chapter of the new book. Ryan Hall, he was a marathoner, 129 pounds guy. He wanted to bulk up just like you, except for he was the fastest marathoner in the US history. 129 pounds. He had a goal to bench 300 pounds. He benches 330 pounds. Why am I sharing this? Well, think about what he had to change from a marathoner, right, to a Hulk. What had to change in his environment? He was no longer on a track field. He was in a gym, right? Oh, I'm going to just go to the next one. Here we go, right? A gym. His environment changed. Now jump over here. What changed in his mindset? Well, interesting, because he's a peak performer, he actually had the same mindset. It's something we all must have. It's a cheesy acronym that I love. It's HERO. We have to be hopeful. We run our stories through this checklist. We hear ourselves saying something. The question is it hopeful? Is it empowering? Is it responsible? In other words, am I responsible to make the changes? And is it optimistic? HERO checklist for mindset. Now, both of those are going to be conducive and support habits and skills, which is going to actuate the transformation. Everybody got it? So the question is, where do you begin your journey? So everybody's a little different. So some people prefer one place, some people prefer another. In other words, some people prefer their environment, they get a coach. Other people change their story in their head. Peter, which do you prefer? You're muted.
Depends on the
Bless you.
goal. I will decide. Depends on the goal, which
Yeah.
will give me a quick big win. Yeah.
Got it. So yeah, the question is, it doesn't matter where you begin and what is required for lasting change. Kind of a trick question. The answer is all of them, right? Now, some people, we didn't get into the discussion with the circles, but you noticed that feelings and emotions, I'm going to go back real quick just to this picture. This is a 5-year transformation. Feelings and emotions are minimized. They're the membranes, they're the conduits And the question is, why are they minimized? They're super important. And the answer is feelings and emotions are incredibly important from one moment to the next, but over a 5-year transformation, they're not going to matter very much. Feelings and emotions are ephemeral. They change sometimes from hour to hour, let alone day to day. Over 5 years, you're going to have bad days, right? That's why the HERO acronym is so important.